As y'all know, we like to start the episode with the most pressing news, the most important thing that's happening in the world. There's really only one thing that we could talk about here, the most vital. We've been sitting on the edge of our seats for it. We've been waiting, and it's finally happened. The Costco guys have released Big Boom Christmas.
'Tis the season.
It's a big boom Christmas, the best time of the year. The carols we sing, the boom that we bring to everybody from far and near. It's a big boom Christmas.
5 booms, let's go.
We brought on Nelson from What's Left of the South, Costco guys expert to just no. I'm sorry.
I am. I'm the
Yeah.
long lost son of that dude.
Yeah, the third member of the trio. Super excited to have you on the show. Tell us about your show. What are you up to so people know what they're getting into before we get into the real news of the week now that you've learned all the important stuff at the time.
Nelson from What's Up to the South podcast. So we've been doing the podcast since 2019. We went through a lot of changes with our co-hosts, a name change, rebranded. So basically the whole gist of it is that we do history and current events from a leftist perspective, like from the South, because basically I got tired of people asking me the same dumb questions over and over again. Do I know how to read? Do I have relations with my cousin? Like I am in the Klan. And there's so much like around that time, a lot of people started asking questions about this. Like it got popular on social media. So I was like, there's no like at the deep South, like you have the Trillbillies Worker Party in Appalachia, but like you didn't have any representation in like the deep South. So I wanted to get some representation here because I had friends up north that probably still think that George Wallace is the governor. So I was just like, no, he's dead and he's in hell. So we've interviewed so many people, and however long we've been doing this, my favorite one would have to be Ty Thurman, from the co-founder of the Young Patriots. So he was up in Chicago with Fred Hampton, organizing with Black Panthers and the Rainbow Coalition. We've interviewed authors and historians and activists and just everyone trying to give a different perspective of the South, and that there are good people down here doing good work. So that's been the thing. We're slowing down a bit only because my co-hosts Mark and Kai both have elderly and sick family members they have to take care of. So we're slowing down a bit, but we hope to be able to get picked back up here soon into 2016, more interviews and more stuff.
Jen's always said that the revolution will start in Texas, probably. That
we always say we say the South will rise again, but it's time for the right reasons.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I've had people try to get me to take on that saying, and I'm like, I don't feel right saying
the South will rise again, brother. Let's go. I used to say like the South will rise again for this time for the right reasons: decolonization, self-determination for all oppressed peoples, etc. We used to have this whole intro outro thing that we did. And after a while, just like, all right, just hit the music. Let's go.
Before we get into the news of the day, first of all, just so y'all know, telling my folks on here, I am editing that Costco guys song into this episode because letting me edit this week fucked up by letting me do that. Hopefully we're not in litigation against the Costco guys. Secondly, I just want to ask Jen, Lenore, how y'all feeling? How y'all doing? What's going on y'all's end?
I had my first filling today, so congrats to me. I survived. I didn't cry. Doesn't even hurt. I went 20 years without going to the dentist from age 18 to 38. It was like, you know what? What is dental insurance? Is that a thing people have? So I was just like, I don't want to do this. And I finally I found a lady dentist that I really like. Now I have to go every 3 months because I put it off for so long, but doing okay.
Heck yeah. Well, this is going to be a rough segue. What's not doing okay? The state of American media.
You know what's like getting a filling? Watching the news.
Yeah, except it's filling your mind with garbage. Is that anything?
Just like carving out the dead tooth is like trying to carve out Joe Rogan from your mind.
Have you seen that straight up fascist spread in the New York Times? That's like the eagle holding the arrows, and it's like our country is threatened, and it's.
I'm my understanding is that the New York Times is the last bastion of democracy, Lenore, but I'm sure whatever they're doing, it's in our best interest.
Who are we to question the gray lady?
What's the one owned by Jeff Bezos?
Washington
Post. I love how it's like democracy dies in darkness. Democracy dies behind a paywall. Like article.
Jeff Bezos doesn't like that saying, but he's not been able to get rid of it since he bought the Post. And I think that's really funny. He's like, shit. I think democracy does well in darkness. gonna quote here from Peter Rothplatz. He's wrote for Zetio a couple days ago about the state of the American media. Pull from some of this as we're having this conversation. Y'all butt in as you like, but he's talking about the ownership, the billionaire consolidation of the media, which, has been a thing for a long time. Let's not act like it's new, but we are seeing it accelerating. He says, consider the Murdoch family and its sprawling properties. Through News Corp and legacy entities like 21st Century Fox, the oligarchs own and control the broadcast scourge that is Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, and a vast apparatus of foreign print outlets in quotations because of American stakeholders in them. Of course, Elon Musk, who controls arguably the most influential social media platform in the world. At least it's the platform where the majority of DC bigwigs are consuming their political discourse. Have you ever wondered why Trump is talking the way he is? It's like he's on these people are on Twitter and in Trump's case, Truth Social all the time. Mm-hmm. So you've got that. But last, but certainly not least, is MAGA's newest oligarchs on the scene, father and son duo Larry and David Ellison.
God.
Currently, their new posts atop Paramount Skydance. The pair controls Showtime, MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, and CBS News, where they have just installed Barry Weiss to turn it into a Fox doppelganger. And they will soon have sway over your pocket because in September, Donald Trump greenlit a plan for Oracle, Papa Ellison's co-founded tech company, and he has a controlling stake in it, to join the investor consortium that will operate the American version of TikTok for 170 million Americans.
Larry Ellison looks like Adam Driver halfway to turning into the oil baron character he played on SNL. And he acts like him too.
Kylo High Rent? Is this anything? I don't know.
I just learned that he owns 98% of the island of Lanai.
What?
Yeah, there's a whole island in Hawaii that's his. 2% of it is owned by the state and the rest of it's owned by him.
Jesus Christ. He's also one of these guys that literally is into that network stake theory that there's going to be, after the collapse of the United States government, billionaires are going to have set up apparatuses around the country that they're going to set up their new country that's basically fucking cyberpunk, literally Night City from Cyberpunk.
Yeah, let's go. I can't wait to live in the free state of Walmart. That'd be great.
Yeah. The Great Lakes Kingdom, fighting against the Midwestern.
The free fights off Dollar General rebel groups. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
The Piggly Wiggly Brigade. Let's go.
Costco Commandos. Yeah, it's going to be great.
The boom guys are going to be out there. Yo, let's boom for Costco.
We bring the boom.
It's like the Yugoslav wars, but it's all corporate. It's I don't trust those Wawa people up there.
How could we make the Yugoslav wars worse and more stupid? This is the way.
And it's going to start with something innocuous too. Whatever fiefdom they set up is going to charge, 50 cents to use a bathroom stall or whatever. And so there's going to be a campaign of shattering those, and that'll snowball.
It'll be Buc-ee's bathrooms. I'm 100% fighting for Buc-ee's. I can't wait. I thought about this the other day. I was just you know what? If how we archaeologists dig up something from 2,000 years ago, and they'll be maybe this was like this. It was I know that Buc-ee's had a beaver brand split. The old Buc-ee's had a fat happy beaver, and the new beaver is more slimmed down, has a shirt on. And I was what if archaeologists dig this up 2,000 years ago, and they're this must have been what the people in this land worshiped, and then they go and dig up the new Buc-ee's, and there must have been a schism in this church, and they worship a different beaver idol.
Ozempic comes for all of us.
We used to argue over the nature of Jesus, whether he's human or divine or whatever, and whether he assumed divine nature on conception or at birth. And now it's just, okay, is the beaver topless or not?
He's always bottomless though. He's doing the Pooh Bear
that is
at
true.
least. Yeah.
That's believing in the Trinity, but then it just becomes, is the Trinity, are they all equal? Are they all God?
He went from hugging like this to hugging with his arms. What is going on here?
We have strong opinions on beavers here on Workers Lit.
I have to throw out, and this is not to get on a total side tangent, but something I realized today is that essay that was going around from that college student that was saying, oh, because of the Bible, you can't be trans, made the argument that if the Holy Spirit is a helper to God, so women being designed to be helper to men isn't bad. And I like that the argument fundamentally says that the Holy Spirit is not equal to God, therefore creating a new schism in the church. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's an underrated part of the argument, is that the paper undermined the divinity of the Trinity. I think that's pretty cool.
There was that executive order or something as well, like some statement from the White House that came down that was like accidentally Nestorian.
Yep. Got to get Brian Recker back on the show, not to talk about his book, but to explain to us what the real shit is.
She also said that there are not multiple genders in that essay.
We did it! We did it! There's only one!
We're all the same. A gender.
And one gender, it's comrade.
When everyone is gender, no one will be.
Speaking of the Trinity, it's like a one gender, three person.
God was doing gender so
See,
much.
My Catholic school education finally paid off. I remember.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say the Ellisons, they want to return to a conservative conception of gender. They want to put that on everyone else. These aren't enough eyeballs for the Ellisons, however, going back to the article. They want far more. For some time, they've been trying to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in order to snatch up HBO, Cinemax, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, and most importantly, CNN. The Ellisons are merely angling to snag another studio. They are constructing, in their own words, a vertically integrated, politically driven media empire that spans legacy broadcast, premium cable, children's programming, franchise filmmaking, news, streaming, and algorithmic influence over the largest short-form platform in the country. It is maybe the most ambitious consolidation of cultural and political power attempted in the United States, certainly the biggest in the last century. And the only hope of them being stopped right now is fucking Netflix.
Hold on, wait. Ted Turner is still alive. I'm just saying they're gonna have to price. I know he's 80. I just looked it up. It was like, is Ted Turner still alive? And I know he doesn't like own, I think, majority of CNN. I don't know if he sold it completely, but he's just like, they have to pry that from his cold dead hands. Like, y'all took away my WCW. You're not taking away my network.
Do you think Ted Turner, if he was hardcore against it, would have the clout to stop it?
Possibly. You never know. Just the CNN. He probably wouldn't care about anything else. He's just like,
yeah.
Don't take away my CNN.
It's interesting because Netflix announced it reached a deal to buy Warner Bros. Discovery for $72 billion, and the Ellisons launched immediately a hostile bid, attempting to go directly through the shareholders, do a hostile takeover of Warner Bros. Discovery. And they're basically making the argument directly to the Trump administration that they should be backed. Trump got asked this weekend at the Kennedy Center Honors, where he said next year he's going to give himself the Kennedy Center Honors and possibly change it to the Trump Center. Which, like, what the fuck? Why not? But just do it.
Who cares?
I gave him that horrible world peace, whatever nonsense. It's like the two most corrupt presidents. Like the FIFA president is a horrible. Like FIFA is like one of the most corrupt organizations, and you have that jackass Donald Trump is just like, yeah, this fits.
It's a participation trophy.
Yeah, exactly. I thought we were against those.
He earned it because he stopped, I think the number is like 30 wars now.
Right up there, like with the painting of Napoleon seizing the crown from the Pope and crowning himself, you know? It's just going to be Donald Trump, like giving himself an award.
Giving himself
like a smile.
That in the
participation trophy, yeah.
Was after the Copa Cup, like he just like takes the trophy for himself. He's just like up there with, I think Argentina won. He's just look at me, I got it. Yay, look, It's like, dude, what the fuck?
With all this media consolidation, like I know that Michael Parenti is still alive, but he's just not capable of speaking out on this, because I would really love to hear his analysis of all of this happening right now.
Oh yeah. It's nothing that he didn't predict. It's interesting. Trump this weekend, though, direct quote from him. They asked, will you interfere on the Netflix and Ellison conflict? And he said, that's a question. They have a very big market share. And when they have Warner Bros, that share grows up a lot. So I'll be involved in the decision. It should be clear. Not to be like a Norm's scold, because we're so far past that, but the president is not supposed to have any role in that kind of thing. And the fact of the matter is, if Trump does have a role in it, he's going to give it to the fucking Ellisons, because who is on the board of the Ellisons, their company where they used to buy stuff? Jared fucking Kushner.
Ugh.
So
yeah, let's go.
This man is everywhere. What the hell? Isn't he involved in the EA deal with Saudi Arabia as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, just hold that thought, because guess who else is involved in trying to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, ponying up the cash so Larry Ellison can do it? The fucking Saudis and the UAE.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
I give up.
Mr. Worldwide, Jesus.
And by the way, I don't want Netflix to get it either, because that's going to make movies so much worse. They're going to make every movie in the theater have to be something that you can understand while looking at your phone. And it's like theater movies are already getting so bad, and like theatrical releases are already so limited. That can't be good. But the alternative is, of course, Warner Brothers being turned into Fox News. I mean,
it's going to be good about this if they remake Anastasia and they actually make it historically accurate. Like they just have her just getting her and her family getting gunned down by the KVD. But
Rasputin is just doing like heroin. That's the only thing he's there to do in the movie.
We're due for a good Rasputin movie, I think. I don't recall if there's been a biopic about like all the stuff that he got up to. Him bringing like folk remedies from fucking Siberia or wherever he's from, and making Tsarevich's Alexei's hemophilia better. That could be an intriguing narrative culminating in his assassination. Like, I was actually watching just the other day Revolutionary Thoughts videos on Anastasia, because they did the movie and a two-parter on the musical. Apparently the musical is actually even more reactionary than the movie.
There was that awful Kingsman spinoff, The King's Man, which was like a prequel for The Kingsman, where they like fight Rasputin, and that's the only good scene in the movie, where Rasputin just starts doing ballet and throwing knives at them. That's the only part I liked in that movie.
Who would play Rasputin in this biopic?
Ooh, he has to be like 7 feet tall.
Adam Driver.
Yes.
That would go crazy. That would go crazy.
Adam Driver, but it's dubbed and it's Slavoj Žižek talking.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. We're cooking.
Adam Driver's 6'2". You could get it.
Look, Ellison's, if you will make this movie when you buy it, you will get the workers. You will still not get the workers-led support, but you will get we will be slightly less mad.
Instead of killing you in Revolution after this movie.
I will say it's shocking to me, and I'll let you get back to the article, Jacob, but it's shocking to me that like the article, like if I heard you correctly, right, it describes this move by the Ellisons et al. As vertical integration, like explicitly says it's politically driven, which is astonishing to me. Like they're not even pretending to the mantle of like objectivity, like of all the news that's fit to print. Like they're just saying, we have an agenda, we're going to enact it. It seems to me that we clown on the state and whatnot for being like behind and out of touch, but there are forces within the ruling class that I think do understand more than others that people just aren't buying this shit anymore.
The article from Zedio makes a good point that the American regulatory system, even its most compromised moments, has always at least maintained the pretense of agency independence on deciding things like antitrust. Now, of course, I just went on Culture Dumpster to talk about Jack Welch and his empire of horror. And obviously, like Reagan was intervening to allow GE to get through every antitrust thing. But there was this like pretense that there was some kind of objectivity. And I think, like we've said on this show before, Trump strips that pretense away, makes it very clear. Now, he does that by being maybe worse than anybody's ever been, at least the worst anybody's been in a long time. But he does not hide his hand at all. He's putting his fucking son-in-law of his favorite child, like in a feudal dynasty type way. David Ellison actually visited Washington a few days ago, and he promised the Trump administration if he bought Warner, he'd make sweeping changes to CNN. And guess who he's promising the White House to give a show on CNN? Lenore, it's your favorite person.
Is it Erica Kirk?
It's Erica fucking Kirk. The intro being that AI We Are Charlie Kirk song to every...
You could be entirely serious right now, and I would believe you about that. Because, like, it is so brazen and so obscene, just the victory laps that these people are taking in the past year, even as certainly culturally there's a lot of stuff that's just falling on its face, like the assassination of Charlie Kirk was a brief flare-up, like a brief media coup attempted that kind of just fell flat.
They're buoyed by, the exact numbers is 24 billion, which is double the amount from the Ellisons themselves, from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. It is interesting that Barry Weiss at CBS has been sending so long saying videos out of like Gaza are all Qatari propaganda, and Al Jazeera is this like scheme to deceive the West. And now like Barry Weiss's paycheck is essentially being funded by the Qataris. That there is a level of irony to that.
It's because these people stand for nothing, though. Like, the hypocrisy does not matter, not even a little bit. And it seems like their base doesn't care about that either. So fuck it, why not?
Barry Weiss held a town hall with Alan Dershowitz to talk about gun control on YouTube, and their YouTube video, their live stream got less views than we do. They literally, like, CBS News put out a YouTube thing, and we get more listens on an average episode than this Alan Dershowitz, Barry Weiss gun control.
Alan Dershowitz is alive?
Right.
And he's
about the most.
And it shows you how dishonest he is, because he promised to blow his brains out on live TV if Zoran Mamdani was elected mayor.
Right.
God, please, I wish they would follow through with this stuff. Yeah.
It would be funny if he did that at a gun control town hall, because that was what discussion was about.
That's what Charlie Kirk did. It's the same idea.
This is your brain. This is your brain on a handgun.
It's all for you, Zohan. It's all for you.
There was that politician that did that, like in the 80s, right?
In Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to bring that
nice
back.
shot.
My first piece of published fiction ever was about the president of the United States killing himself on live TV.
Hell yeah.
It wasn't any particular president, and it wasn't very good, but it was my first piece of published fiction. It's called Political Suicide. Yeah, really clever, I know. I was 17, okay?
Trump's going to be close. He's definitely going to stroke out on live television. I can't wait for it to happen. There were so many things that I wanted to happen. I wanted the shoe to hit Bush so badly. I wanted Trump not to turn his head at the last moment. We've so many missed opportunities, and I really want in this timeline that we've saved up to watching him just be like and just grab his chest and just keel over on live television.
You know,
I need to sit you down and have you watch that Neil Breen movie that ends with a montage of a bunch of corrupt politicians and bank executives and whatnot just blowing their brains out.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what I want to happen to Trump.
I'm convinced that man will die on camera. He's a media whore.
No doubt. There will be more cameras pointed at him and speaking of him favorably if this deal goes through. It ties in directly to something else that's going on right now. As we speak, the Supreme Court is deliberating on whether or not Trump has the authority to just single-handedly fire anyone in any agency in the entire United States, and if unitary executive theory is real or not, basically. And so I pulled a little bit from Politico. Josh Gerstein at Politico wrote about the Supreme Court case because they're trying to decide whether Trump can fire the FTC commissioner, Rebecca Slaughter. And the connection here is essentially you've got this state, certainly a capitalist state, an imperialist state that we criticize, but it is a state that like exists and functions in some capacity that has been bit by bit chopped up by a right wing that is so reactionary that they don't understand that like they should be happy with the country they've got. It reminds me a lot of how you get like things like the Dred Scott decision and like leading up to the Civil War, just a few years before the Civil War. You get unprecedented wins for the South. The South, like the slave states, are winning these huge victories in courts. They're winning huge legal victories. And because their ruling class was so reactionary, not enough to realize, hey, dude, like we're actually doing pretty well. Like with the system we have, they're like going to go for the whole thing and burn the shit down. Honestly, a lot of times feels like that. Like the billionaires like Larry Ellison who are saying, we got to go to the network states. We got to fucking collapse the whole government. Or like Trump saying, we have to have the unitary executive theory. It's almost like they don't realize what a good thing they have. Like what a good system for reactionaries we have.
I'm just thinking about like how we talked about all that, like in Southern politics when I was in undergrad and grad, like the run up to the Civil War, how the South really did. They had the majority in the Senate. They had control of the tariffs. They had control over the courts. They had control of everything. And they're still like, this Lincoln guy sucks, blah, blah, blah. They try to pull a whole 180 with the myth of the lost cause. We did some episodes on that, but it's just like, it's just like, you're just going to burn the whole thing into the ground because you don't know how good you actually have it in this system. It's like Lincoln's even, I don't really care about freeing the slaves.
Literally, I will always recommend, he's not a socialist, but Eric Larson writes good narrative nonfiction, and his most recent book is called The Demon of Unrest, and it's all about the lead up to the Fort Sumter attack. Lincoln didn't meet the moment. He and Seward were of the opinion that, they're going to make a lot of noise about secession, they might even secede, but it'll blow over and they'll come back.
There's a really good book by, I think, Edward H. Bonekemper III. He wrote, and I used it in the Lost Cause episode we did. It's basically the myth of the lost cause, why the South fought the Civil War and why they lost. And he just brutally just destroys all of the lost cause narrative and the neo-Confederates. Like, this is dumb. Like, they the whole lost cause myth is stupid. Like, this is the South fought like for slavery, not even states' rights, like specifically for slavery, and it just goes into really good detail. And I recommend that to everyone, especially because like my dad is a big lost causer. So I was like, he'll be like,
Oh,
blah blah
wow.
blah blah blah, and I'll be like, no, Dad, blah 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 blah, you're wrong. And I was like, no, Dad, Trump is not the second coming of Jesus.
This is an embarrassing thing for me to say on the mic, but I'm going to say it because it's a moment that was really useful for me in my life. When I was like a preteen, I went to a school that taught all that lost cause shit, just straight up. That was what I was taught. That was my education. And I like was probably 12 and was at some public event where there were people not at my school. And I don't know what I said. I just repeated something that had been said there about being about states' rights. Again, I'm horrifying. That's what I said when I was 12. And there was a guy there. He was not much older than me, maybe like a 15-year-old black boy at the time who went to another school. He's now a lawyer, actually. He's a cool guy. And he just fucking destroyed me. He's down and he just took me to task for 45 minutes. And I am so like thankful to that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I've always been like, so like that was, and it's like incredibly embarrassing that there was ever a time in my life that I thought that. But like sometimes you do just need to sit people down and be like, listen, motherfucker.
I don't think anyone was born into the world with the right opinion. Even like red diaper babies, you're not born into the world with the correct line of what to believe when it comes to left-wing ideology, socialism, communism, etc. So we all at some point had some like level of liberalism cringe that we had to unlearn. And I think one of the good things, like I don't know about y'all, but I grew up with it. My father's extremely reactionary. Like I've talked about him on the podcast a number of times, but he is a diehard like lost cause, like neo-Confederate, and he would just be like, he would give me these books to read, like The South Was Right and When the Course of Human Events and all this stuff. I'm just like, this is bullshit. So it's just like, it was almost a blessing to grow up with that, because I could be like, let me research this more and be like, oh, this isn't right, you're wrong, and I could come to left-wing theory in that regard, because my actual communist grandfather died way before I was born, so I had to learn it somewhere. So it's just like learning it because I think, Dad, that's crazy you believe that the Jews run the world. So let me go find something that says it's not, and this is more logical.
And that's like Jacob was talking about. It took a black peer to explain that to him, and that's why it's so important, like, to get out of that bubble. If you're white, talk to people that aren't. If you're a man, talk to people that aren't. If you're straight, talk to people that aren't. Right? We do grow up in whatever our little community is. Like, for better or worse, that's just like how family works, right? So we have to like actively seek out other sources, other perspectives. Yeah.
This is the conclusion that we came to on the Women's Round Table that we had just a couple of days ago. That should be dropping quite soon.
On Proles Pod, keep an eye out for that.
And more, you should listen to What's Left of the South, because 90% of those episodes are Kai, who's an Indigenous woman, telling me to shut the fuck up.
Nice.
Here's to pull a little bit more from this Politico article here about the Supreme Court case, because I think it's relevant to this idea of these dismantling institutions. It says the Supreme Court will debate Monday. Obviously, it's not Monday anymore, but the debate is happening. I will say, if you watch the video, it's pretty clear which way the court's going to rule because of the conservative justices, the way they talked. Yeah. They'll debate whether to finally finish off a teetering 90-year precedent that limits presidents' power over many federal agencies. Lurking in the wings is a far more radical bid by the Trump administration to remake the federal government from top to bottom by ending the entire concept of civil service. Some legal experts say that as a practical matter, the administration, emboldened by the justices, has already managed to eliminate job protections that have been on the books for 150 years. President Donald Trump's drive to replace agency leaders, his mass firings across the federal government, they're all based on one legal concept, the unitary executive theory. And that's a big Project 2025, Stephen Miller Heritage Foundation based theory there. It holds that every employee of the executive branch and anybody connected to the executive branch, even tenuously, is answerable to and fireable by at will by the president. The most extreme version of unitary executive theory holds that the central premise of civil service, rank and file government employees, shouldn't be hired or fired for political reasons or simply on the president's whim. That's the central idea, is unconstitutional because it tramples on the president's power to control the federal government. They've got a quote from a guy from University of Michigan who says this is the logical endpoint of their goal. Their desired end goal would be to arrive at a completely at-will workforce. I think the administration is going to push the unitary theory as far as it can, and the Supreme Court seems fully interested in letting them do it. Many fired workers were given termination paperwork. I don't know if y'all know this. Their entire termination paperwork, it just said on the paperwork, Article 2 Constitution. And that's the entirety thing they got there for their termination. Article 2 basically gives the president control of the executive branch of the government, and that's their idea. You work for fucking, I don't know, Department of Housing and Human Services or something, and they're like, technically, a government president appoints that guy, and he appoints that guy, so it doesn't matter if you work in like an office in rural Georgia. We can fire you, and we are firing you.
They
and
fired
the courts
like
are
the Yellowstone locksmith.
Yep.
Oh, I just like how whenever the Republicans are in charge, they fully just go balls out to making decisions like this and don't care if the consequences are somebody of a different party gets in charge and makes decisions, whereas the Democrats won't ever do anything like get rid of the filibuster because they're like, but what if we lose and then the GOP does something bad? It's interesting how like the two wings of the bird towards each other when it comes to stuff like that.
The Democrats are doing something right now.
Oh.
4 senators are co-sponsoring a bill to stop President Trump from appearing on any U.S. currency.
Oh, wow. I'm really glad we're tackling the issues that matter.
Yeah. This is a thing settled by an act of Congress 159 years ago, but just making it stick.
Yeah.
We're doing the important things here.
Cool.
And you know what the crazy thing is? When he does die, they're going to, if it's not like with the next, if it's not during his actual term, or I don't know, say he lives for like another 5 or 6 years, they'll still want to give him like a state funeral in the rotunda and like it's like what they did for Bush.
He'd
like
get that anyway.
The rehabilitation of George W. Bush is like the biggest go fuck yourself like for the Democrats. I have like, because that man is disgusting, and the fact that he's been turned into like lovable grandpa. Was it The Onion or was it the rock and roll satire one? Was just like the ghosts of the dead children that haunt George Bush, or like you can see it in his paintings and everything. I was just like, God, that's so fucking spot on.
Dick
But
Cheney,
that
they
whole
did the
thing,
same
Dick Cheney, he's a fucking devil. I hope he's, if there's a hell, I hope he's there.
Maddow was at his funeral. Like, where are the people that act like they're against
I would go to his to be like, are you sure he's dead? Because he's had 10 hearts and come back to like
you gotta
50
drive
times.
a stake, right?
Yeah,
just to make
like
sure.
that meme of
Vampire.
Grant Gustin throwing up the peace sign over Oliver Queen's grave. Yeah.
What happened to that old Scottish lady who was saying that about Margaret Thatcher?
Yes.
We
Love
been
that
a good.
video.
Too bad.
No, it was the best one. It was like $2 million. It was like £2 million for the state funeral, and that one Scottish guy was like, you could hand her body over to us personally. We'll dig a hole straight to hell and hand her body over to the devil personally. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, they made her cry when she got booted out of Parliament, and it was like, yay, George Bush, you paint, we love you.
I do think that despite all the fun police, despite all the scolds online saying, oh, you should never celebrate somebody's death, I do think that mythology is starting to break down along with the institutions that we take for granted, which is part of the state that we want to break down anyway, along with all the lies and all the assumptions that undergird ruling class hegemony. I do think that is starting to fall by the wayside.
Lenore and I's friend was just talking about how he helps an older woman like move furniture that's like his neighbor. And it says she has pictures of Jesus and Taylor Swift all over her house. And every time he's there, she says, I hope a shooter gets Trump for real next time.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I worked with somebody once upon a time who she was like, yeah, if I didn't have a job and a life, I'd go out to Washington DC and do what needed to be done myself.
I will say, like, it has been on the books since 1935 that the president doesn't have direct control over this stuff. And there was a case about it. It was called Humphrey's Executor, is what we refer to. It was a Supreme Court case.
There's no such thing as settled law.
Yeah, I remember my bureaucratic politics class is just, yes, the president has control of the bureaucracy that's running the executive branch, but there's people that are appointed but then approved by the Senate that cannot just unilaterally fire.
Exactly.
But he can if nobody stops him. And I feel like that's
you know
what's
what?
always
That is
missed
true.
here. He can do whatever he wants when there's no opposition party. And when... Wait, what, is somebody going to shoot him? Like, nobody's doing that right now. So, like, he can do anything.
Right. There's Osita Nwanevu's new book where he's talking about democracy, makes the point that a lot of the role of the president in the Constitution is just assuming the president's going to be like an enlightened God figure. Like, it's just assuming the president's going to be Plato's philosopher king. Because they made it for George Washington and they all thought he was that, right? Like, they all that way about him. they didn't have a plan because it's actually not. Go and read the Constitution. It's not very well defined what the presidential powers are. And it basically, you're just assuming people are going to work within norms. Don't work within norms, then there's not a lot they can do to check your power. You can, like, Trump is not entirely wrong when he says he could just declare the Insurrection Act and do whatever he wants. Exactly. You kind of can. It sucks. Yeah. It's bad. That's why I think we need a new constitution. But that is very much like, that's the way it works.
Yeah. I think we just need to bring back duels.
Bring back duels.
I think that'd go really far. Like, that's a thing they used to do in Congress. Bring it back.
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton.
Yes, there's a whole song about it.
But then we got that,
horrible
70
songs.
we got that horrible play.
I never wanted to watch that. Yeah.
I feel like I may have told this story in the pod before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's so good. I was given free tickets to Hamilton at the Fox. I went. This is the day after the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan. And there's a line in Hamilton that says, how does a ragtag army in need of a shower defeat the global superpower? And it's supposed to be a laugh line. And the room, it like landed on the room like a fucking thud. Like,
that's amazing.
It was so good. Just
and
everyone
you stood
in the
up
room.
And just clapped.
Yeah.
Like Shia LaBeouf at the end of that thing. Just, yes.
Yeah. It's crazy that Lin-Manuel Miranda was up there, with the Taliban flag. Crazy. Yeah. I didn't know he was like that. I didn't know he was in favor of a caliphate.
Like that, yeah.
I didn't know he was built like that. Basically, the rest of the article, this Politico article, is basically people just being like, they're just like quoting different people who are like Biden appointees who are no longer in government saying, this is going to be really bad for norms. And like, it is.
Oh, God.
But
norms
also, what are you
like
we
said, like, norms were never there because everyone tries to act like this just happened in a vacuum, where it's just like every administration chipped away at any rule of law. And now we're at this point. It was just like, you can even go back to just take it a little bit. Bush, the Patriot Act. Then you had Obama expanding it. And then you had Biden, not really, Trump, like kind of testing the waters. And then you had Biden, who was brain dead. And now you have Trump, who's just what comes after Trump is probably going to be even worse. And it's going to get to the point where there is no rule of law. There is no nothing because it's been chipped away so much that these systems and these institutions have been either destroyed and then rebuilt in these horrible ways to allow for, liberals love the term authoritarian, but for a dictator to come to power and use them. It was like I was driving down the interstate the other day. I was just like, there's sure a lot of fucking cameras on these interstates. I was just like, it could be so easy for someone to just be like, hey, I'm just going to use them for mass unwarranted surveillance now.
We've got this guy from the Merit Systems Protection Board named Limon who says Trump's going to keep going until somebody tells him no. And that's how the article ends.
Yeah.
Stroke is going to tell him no.
Mr. President, Mr. Mango Mussolini, sir. Mr. Orange Man, sir. Mr. Peach Poobah, sir.
New one. Oh my God.
I made that one up off the dome. This is me telling you no. So I guess it's over. It's so fucking over. We do have some good news. We do have some good news. I got to share it with y'all. President Trump has won the FIFA Peace Prize.
Woohoo!
Let's go.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. No, before we get into our good news, I think Jen wanted to talk a little bit about the Senate race in Texas.
Oh, I just wanted to mention it because Twitter was all abuzz about it today, and I just figured I'd mention it because I think that Jasmine Crockett has more of a national spotlight. Like, people know who she is, but she's really just known for, and to be fair, she is great at the one-liners and the clapbacks. And that line she said to Marjorie Taylor Greene about a broke blonde, whatever, good. So good. So we're electing a new senator next year. Cornyn is the one who's up for re-election. Somehow he's still alive. I actually met John Cornyn when I was in my early 20s. I was involved in this like pro-choice organization that like sent me to DC to lobby our senators. I was 23 years old. He is like 7 feet tall and see-through pale. Really creepy experience. I'm 5'2". It was really creepy just being around tall people. Sorry, Jacob. And it was just very off-putting. Yeah. And so 20 years later, he's still a senator and he's running for re-election. But I just wanted to shout out the other person that's running in the primary. His name is James Tallarico. He's well known in Texas because he's in our Texas house. Tallarico. Yeah, it's a fun name.
So we need more guineas in Congress.
He's young. He's 36, but he looks like he's 20. He was a school teacher, and he's been in the Texas House since 2018. He's not a DSA guy, but he supports an arms embargo to Israel, which for me that's enough for me to support somebody. He's also, as an atheist, I appreciate the way he talks about his religion. He's a Christian. He's a deeply spiritual person, and I don't know him personally, but he seems like somebody who is quote unquote a good Christian, not like the ones we usually see in Congress. I think that Jasmine is going to get a lot of attention because she's beautiful. She's very quick-witted. She's very smart, but she is just like another empty Democrat. She went to Israel recently. Like, she's very much a Zionist. She constantly is saying things like Israel has the right to defend itself. And she made a comment earlier this year when we were talking about ICE and immigration and stuff. And she is a Black woman. And she said that she supports immigration because, quote, we aren't going back into the fields. Which, it's just like that. Yeah. And again, I understand, I think, where she's coming from with that, to give her the best benefit of the doubt, but that is a complete lack of any sort of working class solidarity or understanding like why these things matter and why we need to support immigrants. It's not because they're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. When I see a lot of liberals saying things like that. So I just wanted to shout out. I said in 2020 I would never give any money to a Democrat again, but I threw a few bucks to James Tallarico today just because I think that even though I don't like the Democratic Party, when we have people that are not Zionists running, I think that is the bare minimum, and any little bit of support we can give them is good.
Yeah. I'll say, I mean, I think it's our position on the show that like voting, when you do it, it's a tactical thing. It's not going to get us to where we need to be. If you feel like there's a reason to vote for whatever, for me, like my public service commissioner election, they were promising not to raise my rates. I'll give it a shot to see if it doesn't raise my rates. But at the end of the day, that can't be where our hope lies. That can't be where we're pointing our energies. Throw in the vote. But at the end of the day, we got to focus on bigger things. And we certainly can't focus on just like the newest, like fiery, quick-witted person, because that can be, especially when they're a Democrat, especially when they're visiting fucking Israel.
Yeah, God. Tellerico sounds great because Andrew Cuomo ruined it for us fellow Italians. So it's just like, you know what? I need Guinea in there that's not going to be like Mussolini. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said about voting because Alabama's governor's race is coming up, and Tommy Tuberville is a psychopath and an evil, horrible individual. And I think he's dumber than dog shit. And he wants to run for governor. And Doug Jones, God bless him, probably like the most milquetoast man, our former senator that beat that horrible Roy Moore. Thank God. I voted for Doug. And I was just like, when Doug runs for governor against Tommy Tuberville, like, I also agree, like, voting is definitely tactical and it's not the end all be all and Democrats suck. But I'm just like, you know what? I can't have Tommy Tuberville, who is the definition of evil, like, be the governor. Like, Governor Meemaw is bad enough. Like, I can't imagine Tommy Tuberville, who is just the worst human being ever, be governor. So I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to vote for Doug Jones. I may even go door knock for the man. Just not because I like Doug Jones, because Tommy Tuberville is just, I despise him there's like a bunch of stuff that's happened locally with him, a bunch of Islamophobic anti-immigration shit that happened with him in Birmingham. And he's just like a disgusting, horrible person and just needs to go.
And us here in Georgia will answer the call to help overthrow the Tuberville regime if we need to.
Let's world unite against Tommy Tuberville.
We got our own fun fella over here, Brian Kemp.
Anti-Auburn action.
We do got Brian Kemp over here who thinks he's going to be president in 2028, which is hilarious.
Bull.
That is hilarious. Brian Kemp, or
by the
whatever.
Way, for those of us who have been in the same room as him at some point, the accent is fake. He's doing it for the cameras. He does not. Oh
shit! Really?
Yep. Just letting y'all know.
Does he put on a southern drawl? I haven't heard him talking forever.
Oh yeah. No,
I'm from Georgia.
Look up the ad where he says, I drive a big pickup truck so I can return illegals myself.
Oh
Hell
my
come
yeah,
on,
brother.
God.
Woo, tell you what. Auburn sucks. You ever watch Squidbillies?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I like
Yeah.
driving in my truck. Auburn sucks.
Yeah.
I just wish you would use that as his campaign song.
He had another one where he's got a shotgun pointed at his daughter's boyfriend, and he's like, because we raise our daughters and love the Second Amendment. It's like you just threatened to kill a child and
I think I'm the only man worthy of my daughter's love.
Yeah. And Georgians are like, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We will vote for you. We will give you 70% approval rating, sir.
And they wonder why the
anyway.
Republican Party is like full of pedophiles. It's just like, Lord.
I don't
Pedophiles with terrible trigger discipline.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We do have some good news, some genuinely good news that I didn't see it getting widely reported. It made me really excited to see. And it's like an example, I think a cool example. Grassroots Native American organizers and the Pacific Forest Trust Fund have been working on this for years. They have been fundraising. They've been leveraging against the California, in just wherever they can in the California State Senate. They've put together protests. They put together letter campaigns, and they have pulled it off. They've been working on this for years. Nearly 900 acres bordering Yosemite National Park have been transferred back to tribal ownership after 175 years under this administration too, and then under Newsom in California. So fucking incredible. The transfer from Pacific Forest Trust to Southern, because they were able to purchase it with the money that was fundraised, and also they leveraged grants that they worked very hard to get. They took a lot of grassroots effort to get California to give the grants. The Southern Sierra Miwok Nation provides the tribe with ownership of the naturally, culturally significant Hennis Ridge. It's a site of traditional Native American trail, and from the Central Valley to Yosemite, it's a key migration corridor for a lot of mammals, especially deer. It is the Tara Fouch Moore, the tribal secretary, said, this transfer reunites our people to this unique area of our homeland after 175 years of displacement. They are immediately planning to launch a biodiversity and climate resilience campaign using traditional ecological practices such as cultural fire, cultivation of native plants, forest restoration, and protection of water quality. And there's a lot of people in the area that are actually thinking this is going to be necessary for folks beyond, because this is a key area that if there is going to be forest fires, it needs to be stopped before it gets to more like population dense areas. In fact, the Ferguson fire got very close to this property just in 2018. And they have already, just in their process after purchasing it, before they officially had it transferred to the tribe, they planted 125,000 native seedlings. They've been preparing it for people to live on, which is super exciting. And one thing they were doing is, even before they owned it, they were just like rolling up to the land and started cultivating it for people to live on. They were like, this is our shit, dude. Yeah. Which is another reason the state of California felt that pressure. They were like, we may have to just give this back to them, which is great because there were logging companies that wanted that shit bad. The project will facilitate movement across private-public corridors for plants, animals adapting to climate change, and provide a unique platform for public education on the benefits of Indigenous land stewardship. So they're planning on bringing people in to educate them on these practices they're using to combat climate change, combat forest fires. And it's super exciting. And it's also important because the Southern Sierra Miwok Nation is not officially recognized by the United States government as like a native tribe. And this is a big step to them being recognized as a tribal nation, as they ought to be. So they've been fighting for federal recognition since 1982, and this will strengthen their case. So that's a really cool combination there of like climate justice, land back, and people who use like all the resources at their disposal. This is a campaign that's been going on since 1982. It's been going on for 175 years for this specific people, but like the particular groups that got together with this plan have been doing it since 1982, and they just pulled it off. And I thought that deserved pointing out because that's so sick.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
I thought you were being sarcastic when you said there was good news, so I'm glad. I'm glad that was actually for really real good.
No,
good news, everyone. Bad news.
Yeah, exactly.
And it points out how long these things can take. When we go through 1,000 news cycles in the course of a year, everything seems like the world seems so much faster than any like individual or any formation can keep up with. Something terrible can happen and be forgotten in like the space of a week. Mm-hmm. But this is proof positive that a sustained effort by a tightly linked group can bear fruit and under the most reactionary of administrations.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also important to note that these people immediately after getting this, again, much less than they deserve, but a significant win, are like, and we're going to use this to educate more people and to grow more power and to encourage other people to do the same and to build campaigns and to build people power and autonomous. Like, that's so cool. Like, what we need to do. Every win needs to be turned into a greater win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like that federal recognition thing is huge. It's so hard to get. We did an episode with a member of the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina, and she was talking about they've been fighting. Like they're one of the largest, like non-federally recognized tribes, and they've been lobbying for decades to try to get federally recognized. Like they're recognized by the state of North Carolina, but they just can't get it with the federal government. And then like Mark, my other co-host, he's Indigenous, and his band of the Choctaw in Southern Alabama have been trying to get federally recognized for years as well. And it's so hard to get federally recognized. So hopefully that works out for them. And I'm glad they were able to get that back. I think that one big land back step should just be the federal government handing over all the national parks to the Indigenous tribes that they belong to. Absolutely. I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. That is what we had to cover today. Nelson, tell us one more time about your podcast. Remind folks of what you're up to and where they can find you.
So it's just pure brain rot. We're just 6'7" and a little tra-la-la the entire time.
Fuck yeah. My friend literally today said, I got you this for Christmas, and I don't know if she's joking, but it's a shirt that I'm embarrassed to even say this, but it's a shirt that says Hawk Tua, but the letters spell 6'7".
Oh my god.
No.
Did she get that at Spencer's?
Yes.
It is a Spencer's gift shirt.
And I'm not sure if she's kidding that she got it from me for Christmas.
Listeners,
I commit to you. I commit to you that if she did get me that shirt, I will post a picture on our socials wearing it, though.
Oh yeah,
I will.
We have.
That is
I first get negative listens.
There's the Bayeux Tapestry, like the 4 great novels of Chinese literature, and now the Hawk Tua 6'7" shirt. Could there be a more historical cultural touchstone that better represents our time?
Literally I just went on Trevor Strunk's podcast, No Cartridge, and we were there to talk about Hades and Hades 2, and we had an almost 15-minute conversation about 6'7".
It's the greatest thing. It's just 6'7" is the millennial YOLO. It's like the Gen X suck it. Yes. It's like the boomers. I don't fucking know what they did.
But it's even better because just look it up on Wikipedia and it'll be like, yeah, it has no fixed meaning. It's like, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Dadaism is back.
So yeah, on a serious note, the podcast, What's Left of the South, it's Southern working class history and current events from a leftist perspective. It's me, Kai, who is an Indigenous woman, and Mark, who's an Indigenous trans man. And we go over just, like I said, history and current events, stuff that's happening in the South. We have 120 some odd episodes, I think. So total massive backlog. I don't know how far back you can listen because I know at some point they like taper off, but we host on Libsyn. So if you want to find it on there, I think that has every episode. But we're on all the whatever. We do have a Patreon. We have a Patreon only exclusive episodes called our After Dark episodes, which get even spicy and crazy. We just like it's we just listen. That's all I can say. It was like, so like I said, we do interviews. We've had everyone from DSA chapters to activists to politicians to historians, professors, like everyone on, going over so many different things that have happened in the South throughout the hundreds and hundreds of years. Like I said, probably one of my favorite episodes was the Ty Thurman episode where we talked about, he's in Huntsville, Alabama. He's a co-founder of Young Patriots. So we got to dive into his history in Chicago, organizing the Black Panther Party, the Rainbow Coalition, and he like critiqued a little bit of the movie that had come out, Judas and the Black Messiah. We do the Lost Cause, we do the Seminole Wars, we do a lot of things, and it's just great to have a different perspective. We try to break the mold that you don't have to be all just white cis men to be funny on a podcast. So we just try to really just cut up and crack jokes. And we do have a segment on the After Dark series called Cow News. We find news specifically about cows. So it's very wholesome. And if Kai tells me to shut up every episode, and that's officially when we start the episode, is when Kai tells me to shut up. We're like, it's an episode. It's officially one.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Long-time listeners, not even that long-time listeners of our show, just for the last few months, listeners will know that we're big fans of cows on this podcast.
Hell yeah.
We have an episode, our episode was 100, was a deep dive into the Gary Larson strip, Cow Tools, and we talked about cow tools for an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
One of my favorite things we've ever done. Massive respect, massive synergy there.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff. Lenore, Jen, anything from y'all?
Arlington, Texas is my hometown, and today it's voting on an anti-discrimination ordinance. The Trump administration has threatened various cities in the United States that unless they strike LGBT people from their anti-discrimination ordinances, they risk missing out on federal grant funding. So Arlington is potentially the first city to either knuckle under or to stand up and say, no, we're not throwing LGBT people under the bus for any amount of money. That city council meeting, it's been delayed twice, the vote has, and that city council meeting started literally right as we went to record, so we're not going to know until later. But yeah, next week I'll either be drowning my sorrows for my hometown, or I will be celebrating. Either way.
So here's a preemptive fuck you, and here's the preemptive good job.
Trump is going so hard after queer people because Bill never called him back after that blowjob.
You know what?
So
there are moments in history driven by we're by no means Carlylist like great man theory people here, but there are moments in history driven by individual pettinesses and grudges, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
So one quick thing. If I was gonna say to listen to 3 episodes, right? I know we go on we do fan fiction. And we've done spicy Ghost Adventures fan fiction that we actually read as different characters and had our friend Sydney, who's in the UK, put on like a Masterpiece Theater type posh accent and do the narration. And then we just did 2 episodes of fan fiction with Zoran and Trump being together. And then there was one, we do it on Patreon. It was Trump and Bill together. So if you want to hear some spicy fan fiction involving the Ghost Adventures crew, Zoran Mondami, Bill Clinton, and Trump, find those episodes because they're at
Who wouldn't want to
AO3, whatever that website is. We go on there and
Archive of our own, yeah.
Oh yeah, we find the most unhinged. Whenever there's something crazy like that, there's supposed to be a part 2 to the Ghost Adventures one, but it's so raunchy. And Kai's husband actually does our editing. They were both like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this."
Oh shit!
And Kai's husband is like the nicest, most quiet British man you could imagine. He's just like, "Oh yes, it wouldn't be quite fun listening to that."
Nelson, do you have an impression? Because earlier you were doing the hand gestures, and
I can do Trump. My best is Bill Clinton. I tell you what, I did not have sexual relations with Trump. Let me tell you, our friend Jeffrey. We got on the plane to the island. Tell you, my friend Jeffrey, he got, I don't know nothing really about that. My heart's not healthy enough for sexual activity anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So come on, you gotta love Uncle Billy. Remember I played saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show. Tell you what, who could it be now?
That's good.
That is good.
That's good. All right. On that note, see you folks.
See y'all. Thanks for having me on, y'all.